Welcome to the advisory studio. And I know we took a break from the PiVOT formula framework. I thought we need a gap between, when someone keeps talking, it's too heavy conversation. I thought we need to take a break. But we're back in. Previous episodes, if you probably need to go back, we spoke about the PiVOT formula, which is the framework that I use to help my clients to pivot, to make a change, a strategic change in their lives, particularly in business and also in the personal life, to achieve their goals. For me, personal and business goals are closely aligned because the more you develop yourself, the more your business is going to grow. Because your business cannot grow beyond the founder. So a lot of the times you hear the founder is the bottleneck. I agree with that, because if you stop developing, your business is not going to go beyond that. So my work primarily is around taking care of the founder. Because take care of the founder takes care of the business. That's how I think about it. So the PiVOT formula is to help them transition confidently and consistently within a proven framework in order to achieve their business and personal goals. So we did, you're going to have to go back to a couple of episodes if you've missed episode 1 and 2, and today we're going to 3. So first one was talking about the P, which is pinpointing your expertise. I'll briefly run through, but you're going to have to go backwards to the other episodes to get into detail. I don't want to waste time in repeating this one. In this particular episode, we are focusing on the V. The I was focusing on identifying your strengths, right? And then V of the word pivot, we're talking about value. So when we've identified your expertise, when you identified the space where you'd like to work or potentially go into, I talked about having an imagination, removing all the limits. In this episode, I want to particularly focus on value. And value, I'm talking about what you're bringing into the market. The mistake I did when I left my job and thought of, I'm going to start a business. I've had enough of my work. Yes, I threw away everything, and I think I want to start from base one. And what I thought I wanted to do was not necessarily lucrative in the market. And what do I mean by this? No one really was interested in what I was buying or selling. That's the honest truth. And that stings a lot of the times, because the world goes around saying how follow your passion. And I believe that to a degree, right? But as you follow your passion, you need to identify, are people willing to pay for this? Okay? Or you may identify people are willing to pay for this, but is it at the value that you want to offer that? For example, if you've got a goal to make $100, right? Let's say that's your goal. You want to make $100. I'm going to keep it simple because my math is not my strength here. Okay? My goal is to make $100. But if people are not prepared to pay me enough to make that $100, then I'm going to struggle. For example, I can sell $1 things 100 times and make the money, or I can sell 2 things $50 and make the $100. But are people willing to pay $50 is what you need to determine. Or I can sell $25 and look for 4 people to pay me 4 times for 25 to get to 100. But are people willing to pay the 25? Other people think it's too expensive, not worth it, not worth the investment, whatever their reason is. That's where you need to identify the value. What is the market value? Are people willing to pay for this? Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out. So if you've got high financial goals, you've got, whatever your lifestyle determining is, and there's no right and wrong here, but it's what are you prepared to do? Because sometimes our market is not ready for us. So it's a case of identifying, is the market ready for what I'm offering? Is the market wanting what I'm selling? And is it wanting to buy it at the price that I'm offering? That's one thing we need to determine. Is there market value for what I'm offering? And at what price? That's the second question. And the third question is, which is what I learned when I started my business, is probably your product is not wrong, but you're marketing it to the wrong people. So what am I saying? I might be selling a product that to teenagers. We know teenagers don't necessarily have an income, and I've got teen boys, right? They don't have an income, or they don't have an ongoing income, or a certain amount of money. They rely on their parents, basically. So if I'm going to be selling to them, I need to be mindful who's paying. But then if I sell my product to a mom, a professional mom, I know how much she's making. I know how she's making it. For example, she's a 9-to-5 corporate woman. She's on 100K salary. Maybe she's got a different mindset, a different financial capital available. And then depending on what her needs are, then she might be able to invest in my thing I'm selling. If I'm selling something to a business person, they have different needs. They have different goals, and they have different demands, and they have different aspirations. So their spending and buying power is completely different, or variably different, compared to the professional woman, compared to the teenager. Right, the teenager probably can't afford. I'm not talking about averages here. The average teenager also going to school, does not have a job, doesn't have an income. Professional mom has got amount of money that she's making. In business, invests differently. People in business invest differently. they probably pay money to make an investment to make more money. So how they spend is completely different. So when you're designing your product and when you're speaking to your clients, you need to identify who is the client and what is their lifestyle, what is their financial ability or financial disclosure in order to buy the thing you're selling. Okay, and this is the mistake I did. I went into business initially with my passion, and the audience were not wanting to pay the price they wanted. We speak a lot about pain, the pain point of the client, and this simply means. Remember, I always this whole advisory studio is to demystify business. Okay, so I used to hear a lot about speak to the pain point of the client. Make it remind of their pain, make their pain as unbearable as possible. And yes, there's a truth to that, right? But yes, it's a pain point. But also, I want to say how immediate is the problem that you're solving for your client. Okay, I want to keep. I'm being mindful of the words I want to use. People talk about ethical selling, right? Sell right. And this is possible I'm talking about here. Your wording you use when you speak to people and when you coach people, I am very careful because pain, yes, everyone's got a pain point. But I would like to really say it across as how immediate is the problem they're wanting to solve. When someone has a toothache, now, they're not going to wait. They want to find the most immediate dentist to fix this toothache. You know how bad a toothache is, right? Versus someone who's just going for an average checkup every 6 months. That pain point is less, right? It's not immediate. It's not as immediate. There's nothing paining them as hard. So when you design your product and your service, you should understand how immediate is the problem you're serving. Because sometimes that can frustrate you as well. If you're speaking to a client that doesn't see their problem as urgent, right, which is what I experienced. When I started my business, the client I was speaking to, it wasn't immediate. It was something, we need to fix it, but sometimes it wasn't urgent. Sometimes nobody has money. No one outrightly says, I've got a lot of money to spend. People spend money on the things they need to have. So if it's not urgent to fix the thing that you're solving, unlikely. And they often say, someone working to solve a problem than a pleasure is a quicker buyer. So you often need to determine, what am I selling? What am I speaking? Who am I speaking to? How urgent is the thing I'm selling to? Because that might frustrate you. Another thing that might frustrate you is where are they at the level of the buying journey? Okay? Because sometimes you need to create awareness of your product or your service before they actually then decide to buy. And that can take a long time, or that can take as long as it can. Rather than a person, someone with a toothache, they don't need to be taught to take care of their teeth. They want it fixed. If you have to create an awareness towards the problem, the buying journey for your client is longer rather than someone who's already aware. You know what? I've got a problem here. I need to, let me find a good example. My staff are leaving. I'm losing staff very quickly. How am I going to sustain my business? That's an urgent problem for that business owner. So they're going to want someone to fix that problem quickly versus someone who is, they've got time. I need to fix it sometime this year. You understand? Their buying journey is going to take longer. You've done it. When you want to buy a car, you go look around and, once in the next 4 months, then you go, actually, I think we need to buy a car. And then you go and browse, the different car places. You don't even know which car you want. You haven't even decided which brand you want. So you go shopping around and, the car sales go, anything particular? You go, no, I'm just looking. Ladies here, window shopping in the mall. We haven't actually decided what we want, right? We peruse the mall, look at these clothes. Yeah. That's a buyer's journey. And there's a time when, my car is dead, I need a new car. Or I'm shopping, I need to go to a wedding in the next 2 days, I need an outfit. For me, it's usually I'm speaking in the next couple of months, I need an outfit. So what I'm doing at the mall, I'm looking for an outfit for the stage. So my focus is here. So if I go into a perfect shop that sells my outfit, I'm going to buy what I want. So you need to be able to determine where on the buyer's journey is your client. Do you need to create awareness of the problem, or are they already aware of the problem? So therefore, the way you speak to someone at awareness stage, or someone who's thinking about it, or someone who's ready to buy, who's like, I need a new car, my car is dead. Type of scenario, completely different. So I think having the discussion around value, what are you presenting? Is your thing valuable? And who to? And what exactly are you offering? What's the buying pressure or the spending capacity? And the urgency of the thing you're solving. Those are all the things you need to factor in. And I think I had the fourth one. Oh my gosh, I should have written it on my notes. I'm slightly all over the show. But the fourth thing I want to discuss about value is being able to, yes, I mentioned it briefly, identifying sometimes your product is not wrong, you're selling to the wrong people. So I think I mentioned that already. So you don't need to necessarily change the product, you just need to go higher. This is what I learned with my product. I was speaking to the wrong people. People were not ready to buy. So I went higher. And when I went higher, I'm talking about, I literally went from business to to client, B2C, and move to B2B. Why did I do that? Because my products were more of a B or something I can offer to businesses, right? Obviously, there was a lot of pivot I did around this, but I wanted to offer to businesses because my financial goal, my business goal, and my lifestyle goal had to match what I'm wanting. You can be frustrated a lot of the times, and that's where the burnout comes, is when you're having to sell 100 things to make $100 versus selling to one client and making $100. You understand? So who do I need to find who can just pay me $100 outright? That's where I decided to go. I said, you know what? I don't want to look for 100 people to get $100. I want to look for one person who can give me $100 and I'm done. I'm not sure if it's the faster way. I think it's just a tolerance thing. How much tolerance or bandwidth do you have regarding marketing, messaging, selling? And it all goes around the P and the I we spoke about, right? That determines which is your best place where you want to operate in your business. This is not school. And this is what I want to talk about. Everything we talk about, there's no right and wrong. If you do B2C, that is absolutely fine. If you do B2B, that's absolutely fine. There's no right and wrong in business. It's not like school. School tells us this is right and this is wrong. In business, there's nothing wrong. You choose your clients. You choose how you market. You choose, how much you charge. You choose who to sell to. There is no right and wrong. It's the bandwidth you have, your lifestyle goals, your financial goals, your tolerance, your personality, right? And that's the good thing about the PiVOT formula. It's designed around you, your strengths, your personality, your lifestyle goals. So like I say, for example, for me, I just prefer selling the one thing to $100 client than selling the dollar to 100 people. And sometimes other people are absolutely fantastic to speaking to the dollar client and sell 100. And they can do it in a jiffy. It just depends on your P and I that we spoke about previously. If you don't understand that, go back to those 2 episodes. Okay, I think that's it. Really, that's all I can talk about. The value. Make sure the thing you're selling is valuable. And how do we define valuable? It's the client. The client determines the value, not you. And this was the big mistake I made. I thought what I'm selling is important. No. I don't determine that. The audience does. The customer determines whether whatever you're selling is valuable or not. And there's no right and wrong. When you get it wrong or there's no buyer for your client, just go back to the drawing board. Figure out where am I lost in here? Is it the messaging? Is it the product itself or the service or the way I'm marketing it or to the people I'm speaking to? Right, those are the things you need to identify, and then you just go back and fix those up, put it back in the market, right? And I think I'm going ahead of the O and the T, which we'll talk about in the next episodes, but literally that's what it is. There's no right and wrong. Be prepared to go back, and that's the beauty about entrepreneurship. It's trial and error. Everybody in business, they're trying something, it works, don't put gas into it. They try something, it doesn't work, okay, go back to the pivoting, go back to the drawing board, try something else, it works, oh yeah, putting the gas into that. So it depends where you are on the entrepreneurial stage. Are you experimenting? Do you have a formula that's worked? Are you scaling? That's what it literally means. If someone is starting up, they're at the beginning. Someone is growing, they found a formula, they found a product, they found the audience, now they're selling. Scaling, they've sort of mastered all those 4 things, right? They're now scaling. So don't be afraid. You can always get to all those stages, but it's just a matter of mastering those 4 things. So I'll finish here. Let me know if this has resonated with you. Again, send me topics to speak about. I'm focusing on the formula, but also want to talk about all things business, all things personal development, all things lifestyle goals related, because I think there's no gap between lifestyle, personal, and business. Send me your questions, any aha moments, anything that shocked you, anything that made you think differently, and anything that challenged you a bit. Let me know. I'd love to know if this is resonating with people, because I don't want to keep talking to myself. I want to make an impact, and hopefully I'm actually demystifying business, because that's really the goal of the Advising Studio. Hope this has been insightful. I will see you next episode. We'll be speaking on the O. So we've done P, we've done I, we've done V today. Next time we're talking about the O, which is the offers, right? So it's a nice segue or intro transition from the value that we would have identified, and the O is about offers. So we're talking about how to craft your offers, what's an offer, how do you identify the best offer, how to come up with an offer. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the O. So I hope you're taking notes. Sorry I didn't remind you at the beginning. Always when you come to my episodes, please sit down with a pen and paper. Don't assume you're going to absorb everything, because you don't. Take a paper and pen. Remember, I said it's a framework, so you're going to have to write things down. Go back to your business idea, go back to your business and say, okay, where am I? What did Mabel speak about? What does this make sense? Do that, okay? And I always forget, like, subscribe, and share this episode with people. And if you want to go deeper on the framework, right, whichever stage you are, maybe on the P, that maybe need more help with the P, or the I, or the V, then, DM me. I'm currently open to private sessions at the moment, one-to-one sessions, because I'm currently out of action. I recently broke my foot, maybe 14 days ago now. So I'm currently out of action. Business-wise, I'm not traveling for a while until I recover. So I'm taking clients on. If you're wanting one-to-one support at whatever level that you're at which stage you're in your business, happy to do some work around you. And also, I'm big on fitness. I'm big on health. I'm big on holistic health. I don't focus on one thing, because I was talking to another lady the other day. She goes, I can't focus, Mabel. I'm struggling to focus on my business. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, go to the gym. And she goes, right, is that what a business coach tells the people? I said, yeah, go to the gym. Because I believe the gym gives you a whole lot of different things, just rather than just fitness. It gives you energy, focus, confidence. It allows you to create peak performance. It allows your frontal part to fire up so that you can think and focus more. It gives you energy, gives you better sleep. What else? You're more creative. Yeah, those are all the business. And she's come back and she said, you know what, Mabel, just the gym changed things. She's more focused.